Imagine sitting at a table in Vietnam, savoring a bowl of pho infused with Italian truffle oil, or a banh mi sandwich made with freshly baked French baguettes. These are not just dishes. They are stories of how globalization has transformed the Vietnamese food industry, blending flavors and cultures to create something extraordinary. Hi, I'm Luna. Food is my spirit. I love trying new food, and growing up amid globalization, it has always been easy for me to do so. The food industry is not just about what we eat. It is deeply tied to Vietnam's history, identity, and way of life. For generations, food has been passed down as a proud symbol of our history and culture. Our cuisine tells the story of our past, from the influence of Chinese cooking techniques to the French introduction of bread, leading to the beloved banh mi. The food industry is crucial in our lives, yet it is often overlooked, which is why I come here today to analyze the effects of globalization on the Vietnamese food industry and what the future may hold. Globalization has often been associated with economic and cultural integration. But what does it truly mean for a country like Vietnam? In the food industry, it's nothing short of a revolution. Not only is globalization fostering economic growth and embracing international influences, but it is also ensuring that our Vietnamese culinary culture will not be forgotten. First and foremost, globalization opens the door for big businesses to enter Vietnam, which generates more income for the economy since they create jobs, pay taxes, rent, salary, utilities, and keeps money flowing in the economy. However, some people have viewpoints opposing this, saying that these big businesses entering Vietnam would lead to driving locals out of business. This sounds good theoretically, right? However, there is one thing this argument does not account for: reality. Here is Starbucks' revenue for 2023 compared to other big coffee brands. We can see that Starbucks is vastly behind Trung Nguyen Legend, a Vietnamese coffee brand. It is also behind Highlands Coffee and even Phúc Long, showing that Starbucks is not doing well in Vietnam. Here is another comparison of the amount of McDonald's stores in Vietnam compared to other similar Southeast Asian countries. Vietnam, with 33 stores all throughout, is significantly less compared to Thailand, with 245 stores, or the Philippines, with 740 stores. This shows that McDonald's is not doing well in Vietnam. And here are just some further comparison to the UK and California, with over 1,000 stores each, to really see how few McDonald's stores there are in Vietnam. These two examples above indicate that Starbucks and McDonald's are not doing so well in Vietnam. With this information, we can strongly conclude that international businesses are benefiting the Vietnamese economy, but still leaving space for local businesses. Second, globalization helps preserve Vietnamese culture by increasing its recognition worldwide. As globalization expands, more people become familiar with Vietnamese food. Food is often served as a nation's ambassador. When people think of Vietnam, dishes such as pho or bún chả naturally come to mind. Even those unfamiliar with Vietnam could easily search it up and would find images of our food. This growing awareness ensures that Vietnamese culture remains relevant and appreciated globally. Moreover, globalization doesn't just spread Vietnamese culture outward, it also reinforces pride within Vietnam itself. Seeing global admiration for our food makes Vietnamese people more eager to celebrate and share their heritage. YouTuber Jen Hao Tan's love for bún chả led him to name his dog after the dish, while Olympic gymnast Suni Lee once said during an interview in the Paris Olympic 2024 that she was craving a bowl of pho. When influential figures praise Vietnamese food, they amplify its recognition, inspiring both foreigners and Vietnamese people to appreciate our culinary traditions. Personally, this global recognition has transformed my own perspective. I used to be really hesitant about my cultural background, avoiding conversations about Vietnamese customs at all costs. However, hearing people from different parts of the world celebrate my culture has given me a newfound sense of pride. Now I embrace discussions about pho and bún chả with enthusiasm, knowing that my food is something admired and desired globally. Therefore, globalization not only spreads Vietnamese culture to the world, but also strengthens cultural pride within Vietnam, ensuring that our culinary heritage remains alive and cherished. Moving on to my third point, globalization allows restaurants to enter Vietnam, exposing people to different cultures through food. First, it enhances food diversity. Instead of eating rice for every meal, people now have the option to enjoy a French croissant for breakfast, Japanese noodles for lunch, or KFC for dinner. This variety prevents blandness and makes meal times more enjoyable. Having more choices doesn't mean losing Vietnamese food. As we saw in the earlier data, local cuisine remains dominant. Instead, it allows people to appreciate both traditional and international flavors. Furthermore, food is a gateway to cultural understanding. A country's cuisine reflects its history, values, and way of life. When people try international dishes, they gain insights into different cultures. For example, sushis are small, delicate, and elegant, which likely indicates that Japanese culture values elegance and precision, while Japan's slow cooking highlights and rich sauces shows a love for comfort and tradition. By simply eating food from another country, people become more open-minded and knowledgeable about the world. Additionally, globalization allows people to experience different cultures without traveling. As a foodie, I think this is the most exciting benefits. Instead of needing a passport, all I have to do is step out of my home, walk a few blocks, and I would likely encounter a Chinese dim sum place, a Korean barbecue place, an American burger joint, and much, much more. This easy access to global flavors make experiencing new cultures more convenient than ever. Therefore, globalization does not erase local food culture, it enriches it. By increasing food diversity, promoting cultural awareness, and making global cuisine more accessible, it helps people embrace internationalism while still cherishing their own traditions. We are facing a trade-off between internationalism and cultural distinctiveness. Globalization has generated more income for the economy, opened up a world of new food and flavors, and it is ensuring that the beauties of our Vietnamese culinary culture will not be forgotten. While cultural distinctiveness is like preventing a bird from flying or stopping a fish from swimming. In both ways, we want to show our love to the Vietnamese food industry. But in one way, we are stopping it from growth. But in another, we are embracing it by spreading it globally. It is clear that globalization has and will continue to benefit the Vietnamese food industry, so I believe that the choice is clear to make. Now, it is time for us to look beyond the horizon and embrace globalization as the new future of the food industry in Vietnam. How can we do this? We have to continue to value both globalization in our food industry and support local businesses so we can welcome in outside food and not have to trade off our culture. One of the trends in our younger generation is that we tend to cook less because of fast food or takeouts that reduces the time we need to prepare. This puts the food culture in danger because when the previous generation passes, there will be very little people in the younger generation to carry on the legacy. One way that we can balance both our cuisine and international food is to learn to cook traditional dishes. I know that this may be a very hard request for some because I myself am not very fond of cooking traditional Vietnamese dishes, but the good news is we'll all be on this journey together. So, I want everyone who consider themselves Gen Z or Gen Alpha in the audience to raise your hand. I want all of you to go home today after this speech and promise me that you will ask your parents to teach you how to cook at least one traditional dish. And secondly, I want to encourage everyone to step out of their comfort zones and try new food, especially traditional dishes, even if they seem unfamiliar or unappetizing at first. Whenever I travel to the mountainous regions of Vietnam, My parents always urged me to try their local specialties. I resisted at first, wondering why it was necessary. However, as I tasted their food, I realized that every ingredient, every spice, every cooking method, it was a direct reflection of their way of life, their history, their struggles, their traditions. Eating their dishes wasn't just about food. It was about understanding their culture on a much, much deeper level. And to my surprise, I discovered some incredible dishes along the way, like cơm gà Đà Nẵng or bánh mì Hội An, meals I would have missed out on if I had stuck to what was familiar. So, next time you're faced with a dish that you've never tried before, don't hesitate. Take that bite, taste that soup, sip that noodle. Who knows? You might just discover a new favorite that stays with you forever. Thank you.